Hello, friends. This is Jim here at Science Talk. Have an interesting story, a report that was published in the journal Geophysical Research Letters, and the principal investigator, prime main author, is Dr. James Screen of the University of Exeter in the UK, and they're looking at the wobble of the Pacific and how the Pacific climate wobble helps speed up Arctic ice melt. So basically, thanks to a natural sea temperature cycle, a Pacific climate wobble, the Arctic Ocean could be ice-free in the summer in a decade or two. Now, what they are referring to is the behavior of what is called the Interdecadal Pacific Oscillation, IPO. It is also called the Pacific Decadal Oscillation, or PDO. Take your pick. IPO, PDO, same damn thing. And so what they're looking at is that because of the PDO, conditions could change that will accelerate warming in the Arctic. Now, the PDO is cyclical. It's just now coming out of a cooling state, moving into the warming state. It's approximately an 18.6-year cycle. We used to jokingly call it the lunar noodle because it actually has some ties into some of the orbital forcing of the moon. So scientists are now thinking that the Arctic Ocean could be completely ice-free, open to shipping within 20 years. We've known that the Arctic sea ice has been thinning. We know that it freezes later in the year. We know that it melts early in the year. We know that it's not thick as it used to be. We know it doesn't extend as far south as it used to be. We know that the prevalence of multi-year ice is declining. We know all this. We have the data for that. I just did a quick little report, an observation on what's happening in the Bering Sea. And we have all the stuff here. New research has now brought forward the prediction date, and this time the effective agency is not just global warming, driven by what humans are doing, burning the fossil fuel, but also what's going on with the PDO or the IPO. Over a cycle of between 1 to 3 decades, the average ocean temperatures of the North Pacific shift up or down by about half a degree C. That's significant. And this new study pinpoints the state of the present cycle. The Pacific ended its cold phase and started to warm up about 5 years ago. So Dr. Screen used computer modeling to merge the continuous upward rise in global average temperatures, due to us humans putting more CO2 up in the atmosphere. And he wanted to correlate that with patterns in the atmosphere of predicted natural change in ocean surface temperatures to identify the moment when the summer ice will have melted. Now, a cautionary note here. When oceanographers primarily, but also glaciologists to a lesser extent, but when oceanographers say the Arctic being ice-free, it doesn't mean that there's absolutely zero sea ice around. There's going to be some sea ice, but when we say ice-free, our definition is when the area of summer sea ice falls below 1 million square kilometers. Repeat that again. To oceanographers, when we say the Arctic is ice-free, it really means that the summer sea ice covers less than 1 million square kilometers. So it will be some ice probably right around 90 degrees. So the timing for this is now said between 2030 and 2050. So the argument is not about if, but when. We know that the Arctic is the fastest warming region of the planet. 2016 polar sea ice in both hemispheres, don't forget the sea ice that formed around Antarctica, reached record lows. Okay. And going back to Antarctica, remember the sea ice helps hold back the land ice. You start losing the sea ice, and then the land ice that starts galloping off into the ocean. So there's that going. The trajectory, Dr. Screen says, is towards becoming ice-free in the summer, but there is uncertainty as to when that is about going to occur. You can hedge your bets, but the shift in the IPO means there is more chance of it being on the earlier end of that window than the later end. Now, the PDO, or IPO, is closely tied into the workings of ENSO, El Nino Southern Oscillation. There is another little cyclical thing that goes on with respect to the climate. That's the NAO, or the North Atlantic Oscillation. That's another little climate thing that goes on in the North Atlantic that also helps have temperatures move through on a cyclical manner. I am going to be preparing videos discussing ENSO, PDO, and NAO. It will be a three-part video series. I'm not going to tackle them all in one video. It will, each one of these phenomena will have its own separate video treatment. So, but anyway, thanks to the IPO, we might have ice-free summers a lot sooner in the Arctic Ocean, which means shipping, but also now what does that mean? You're going to have oil companies rushing to go and drill, which will make things even worse. Thank you for your time. Hey friends, this is Jim reminding you to subscribe and share my videos. Also, don't forget to click the bell so that you know when I drop a video in. And I'm also asking for you to please support the work that I do by becoming a patron at patreon.com. Details in the description box below. Thank you for your continued support.